Presentation now on leading, oops, sorry about that. Leading for equity, creating a student-ready culture. Dr. Odu, welcome aboard. Take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. Do I have the presentation to share with everyone?
Yes, sorry, 1 second.
No worries.
The cool thing is we made up 14 minutes right there. Thank you, Michael.
So I guess, Malia, I can see your point. I am not doing my presentation now. I'm only doing a greetings. My presentation comes later. So yes. Let me just go ahead with my greetings. So we have one of the most difficult jobs in academia. Why? Because we are expected to uplift the cultural, social, and economic mobility of our community. That's a very difficult job to ask of anyone, but we chose to work in a community college. No one can do this job alone. So let's work together. And I want you to know, as you do your job, I got your back. I am here to support you. I am no good to anyone if I cannot give you the tools you need to be successful. Echoing Dr. Lundberg, let's be patient with each other, and especially our students. There will be a lot of technological hang-up next week. Show them some Miramar love. And as you focus on students, my presentation is based on becoming a student-ready college, but I would take a different angle. You know why? Because it is all about you. A system is made of people. You want to improve a system, you invest in the people. You show them love. You meet the people where they are. You give them the tools they need. Only then can those people now take our students to where they need to be. I shall see you later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Malia, help me out. Where are we at? I'm trying to follow this program. And
I can help you out, Steve. So next we'll hear from Vice President of Student Services, Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian?
Got it.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to those of you who I have not seen in a while. It's great to see many of your smiling faces. I sent an email out last week to kind of give folks an update on what's happening with student services. And as you know, we are in the process of phasing in our return to campus. We've started with admissions and records, financial aid, and student accounting this week. And we've started to see students come to campus and starting to access counter services. One of the important messages to help our students understand is that we do have very limited services, and we are restricting it to just counter services right now. In the coming weeks, we will start to fold in our counseling services, and we will continue to watch what's happening locally as well as statewide and nationally around the COVID virus to determine how we scale up, and in certain cases, we may need to scale down. So I think, managing expectations of our students will be important, and helping them to understand that we are here for them. We do want to support them in many ways as we can, but we want to do it in a safe way. And so we do have a kind of a triage center set up in the K building. We will require face masks as they come to campus. We will also do social distancing. You'll see that we've put a plexi in various areas, and we will be doing vaccination checks and weekly testing as we kind of move through the next few weeks. So we, want to encourage our students to continue to look for us in a remote fashion, because we do have all of that available on a regular basis. And for those who really do need in-person services, we'll begin to scale that up. Just really quickly, in keeping with some of the messages that we heard from our chancellor and from President Lundberg, as I was driving in this morning, I was thinking about access. When I first entered into the field of education, it was largely driven by the idea that I wanted to help students have access to higher education. And when we think about the students who have been flourishing in a remote format, we should all pat ourselves on the back, because we did a lot of work to try and help those students be successful. But we do know that there are students that are struggling. They don't have the technology access. They have issues with health and family and transportation. And it's important for us to continue to strive to serve those students as well. We've lost a lot of students who are waiting for us to return, and we will continue to make that effort to allow them to have access as well. So with that, I want to welcome everybody back. It's great to see you all, and look forward to working with you throughout the semester. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Adrian. Yeah, I totally goofed. I'm sorry, I forgot to give everyone their opportunity to speak. And sorry about that, Michael, that I thrust you right into your presentation a little bit earlier. I'll figure this out. It's only like the 85th time I've done it. All right, let's hear from Brett Bellnow, our Vice President of Administrative Services. Brett.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you today via Zoom. My team and I are looking forward to working with you this coming fall semester. We do have, much like student services, some limited in-person services available beginning Monday. Reprographics, mailroom, stockroom, student accounting, all have limited hours during the day. We do have remote services still available in budget, accounting, travel, employment, and payroll. So we look forward to working with you all. Have a great semester and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brett. How about our Academic Senate President, Dr. Laura Murphy?
Good morning. It's so great to see everyone. I actually screened through all 200 plus squares of names and or faces just to see who was here. And, as Dr. Odu said, it really is about the people, and we have to, I think, focus on creating that healthy and positive environment within ourselves so that we can optimally help our students, because kind of like a family, the parents are sick, they can't really take care of the kids. Not that we're the parents and they're the kids, but just that the whole thing needs to be healthy for us to work optimally. And so that being said, I want to welcome you. I want to invite you to come to Academic Senate meetings this year. We are still advocating very strongly for the campus. I think some of you might be aware that we are going to be getting some new full-time faculty positions. And after about 3 years of heavy lobbying at the district level, we are well positioned to get more than we have in the past. So that's a big win, and something that the Senate has taken very seriously over the past several years. Our meetings are the first and third Tuesdays. For the time being, they will be remote. So I really do encourage folks to come join us, share ideas, share concerns. We're going to be handling a lot this year, so we need everybody to participate, and we really look forward to making some good progress for the sake of our students and our college. So greetings, and hope you have a great semester.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. That's great news. You guys have been fighting hard for those faculty positions. So very cool that that we're going to get them here in the future. How about Sean Young now? Let's hear from Sean, Classified Senate President.
Steve, I really thought I was going to get away with not having to make any opening remarks, but
so are all of us, because we know you like to talk too, like Carlos.
That's right. So good morning, everybody. First and foremost, welcome back. We do have a fairly busy program today, and we got a little bit behind, so I'm going to keep my comments fairly brief. As we move through our presentations today, I'm going to throw some statistics at you, and I want you to keep them in the back of your minds. So I read a report recently published by Indiana State University and the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center. 40% of the students who start college at 4- and 2-year schools won't finish. Students from low-income households are 7.5 times less likely to complete a degree or certification program, and 30% of our students will drop out within their first year of schooling. So my hope today is that as we start to explore ways as a college to mitigate these issues, we can really start to focus and drill down on what it means to be student ready. So enjoy your day, enjoy the presentations and the breakout groups, because I'm sure everybody had a nice long summer and you all want to talk to each other on some level. Hopefully you all want to talk to each other on some level. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate that. All right. Edward Borek, our new ASG president. Welcome aboard, Edward, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Miramar College. My name is Edward Borek. I use he, him, his pronouns, and at the end of the last academic year, my student peers elected me to serve as the president of the Associated Student Government. As ASG president, I have an open door policy, and I know that I was elected to serve our students. My goal is to serve all students as best I can. My top priorities as ASG president are to advocate for more open education resources, more comprehensive student services, increase student outcomes, particularly for traditionally underserved and minoritized groups, and increase student and community engagement as we transition back to in-person instruction. I have dedicated weekly office hours, and I encourage you all to get in touch, students, faculty, staff, everyone. And when you do, your voice will be heard, your opinions considered, and your needs advocated for, because what is important to you, the students, is important to me and the rest of the ASG. The Associated Student Government is not meant to govern students. Rather, it is a device for the students to have a say in how our community college is governed. Thank you for putting your faith in me to lead that effort. I'm looking forward to meeting you all soon, virtually, then in person, because it's time to get back to class. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Much appreciated. I want to bring Dr. Lundberg back to do something that I'm not sure we did the last couple of online convocations. Maybe we did, I don't recall, but it's exciting always to have new employees and to meet them. So Wes, if you would introduce us to our new employees, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. And welcome aboard to all of these folks. I'm just going to read through what's on the screen, but want to make sure that we're giving a shout out. I wish we were in a physical space together. We would have you stand up and wave at everybody so we could see your face, but I don't think that works on the Zoom very well. So we're left with this, but please accept our apologies for the list approach. But we have Milton Lewis with us now, Assistant Professor of MLTT. Welcome, Milton. Claudia Estrada Howe, whom we poached from Mesa College, our new Associate Dean for Career Education. Jeanette Moore, Administrative Assistant 4. Welcome, Jeanette. Elizabeth Whitsett, Administrative Technician, and a warm welcome to you as well, Elizabeth. Daniel Smith, Assistant Professor for Aviation. Welcome, we're very happy to have you here. Bryce Thompson, ILT in Chemistry, much needed, very important position. Welcome, Bryce, and we're glad you're joining the Miramar family as well. Ali Gonzalez, counselor in EOPS, and I'm always happy to say the very first hire that I signed off on. So Ali, you have that special spot in my heart forever. Welcome, Ali. And then of course, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here because the next one is actually our key speaker here, who will be taking the show here in just a moment. But I don't want to assume that you all know who Dr. Odu is, or that you read the announcement, because he started his position on July 1, and many folks are off contract, excuse me, at that point. And so I'm going to borrow a little bit from the announcement that went out as the introduction, and then just add a couple of personal notes before I turn it over to him. Dr. Odu holds a PhD in mathematics education, an Master in Science in Mathematical Sciences, and a Bachelor in Science in Mathematics. And I always love to highlight this piece, an Associate of Arts degree in Computer Science. He is a product of a community college like myself and many of you. Dr. Odu emphasizes an equity-minded and progressive approach in academic and operational leadership. His decision-making draws from data with an eye on solid pedagogical approaches to curriculum development and review, a very important piece for a VPI. Since 2016, Dr. Odu has served, I should say, from 2016 through June 2021, Dr. Odu served at Southwestern College as the District Dean of Mathematics, Science, and Engineering, where he also served as an adjunct instructor. So he is a man of the classroom. Dr. Odu served 14 years as a professor of mathematics at Hillsborough Community College in Tampa, Florida. And he demonstrates a commitment to and passion for the community college mission. He clearly is dedicated to the work of making quality higher education accessible to students with an unwavering desire to see equity and inclusion infused into all levels of higher education. As you can see, Dr. Odu is a perfect fit for Miramar. We're happy to have him here. What I want to say too, on a more personal note, is if you have not interacted with Dr. Odu, you are going to be impressed with his energy, his passion, and his unwavering, as I said a moment ago, commitment to students and student learning. My own interactions with him have been very positive. Dr. Odu is not only a quintessential academic, but he's just a great person. So welcome, Dr. Odu. I'm going to be quiet now and let you take the stage. Dr. Odu will be speaking to us, the topic, leading for equity, creating a student-ready culture. Dr. Odu?
Thank you for that introduction. You know, as you were talking, I'm saying to myself, who is this person and where is he? You know, I cannot wait to meet him. Yes, so Malia, are you ready for my slide? Yes, so my plan today is to have, you know, I was going to call it a conversation. And then you say, you know, a conversation normally is like you are engaging with other folks back and forth. But since I am just the one doing all the talking, we decided to call it, you know, a discourse, you know, so like more of a one person talking on the fulfillment of our mission, you see. And only when we fulfill our mission can we truly advance to the next era in the evolution of community colleges. And how do we do that? Well, we're going to lead from equity by creating a student-ready college. You know, creating a student-ready college is very important. And why do we want to do that? I want to start by focusing on our foundation and guiding principles. When you take a look at who we are as a college, on paper, anyone that goes to our website will take a look at our mission statement. So we have a mission statement, we have our strategic goals, and we have a new definition of equity, which is wonderful because this tells us that, yeah, we are truly committed to serving our local community. Why? Because we are a community college, right? We cater to the needs of our local community. And that is why we have the mission statement, the strategic goals of how you're going to make this work. And of course, basic fundamental is all about equity. So as you review, if you have, you know, you can find the link, we have it on the screen here. As you briefly review our mission statement, our strategic goals, and our equity definition, I want you to imagine a world where we are being held accountable for our promises to the community. So please take a few minutes to reflect on your role in fulfilling our mission. Ask yourself the question, how often do you participate in program reviews, outcome assessment as a measure of continuous improvement? And how often do you do it just to check off the boxes for completion? As you reflect on a mission statement, strategic plans, goals, and the definition of equity, do you notice that there is nowhere in those statements does it say who gets the job done? Think about that. So what does that mean? Not only are we in the same boat, we are all connected. From the janitorial staff to the governing board members, it takes every one of us working together to take each student to the finish line. After all, it takes a village to raise a child. Don't get me wrong now. While it is true that the miracle of our existence as a college takes place in the classroom with our faculty experts, our miracle workers, it is also true that they do not work alone. They do not work in silos, and they do not work in isolation. You see, before students get to the classroom, they go through triaging at the hands of our hardworking student services personnel. In fact, across the college, we rely consistently on our classified professionals, not only for processing our paychecks, but also for technical support, for making sure our classrooms are clean and conducive to teaching and learning. And our student services personnel and counselors, we count on them to help us triage our students before the first day of class and all the way through the semester. So, working in different spaces should not only allow us to stay disconnected from the college, or be tempted to just check off boxes for completion. As a matter of fact, if we truly want to be an equity-minded college, a student-ready college, we should take advantage of our expert knowledge in our areas to re-examine institutional structures through the lenses of equity, race consciousness, and social justice, which in turn will not only help us close all equity gaps, but create a more welcoming environment for all. Is that not the promise we made to our community members in our mission statement, which you can see on the screen? Because the whole world says it, and the whole world expects us to perform. Now that we have re-engaged with our mission, sometimes some of us see the mission statement, the strategic plans as just window dressing. Now, let's talk about real business. The slide of the picture of the equality. Please take a few moments to reflect on why you chose to work in a community college. And in particular, why did you choose to work at Miramar? I know it is mind-boggling. It's like, well, I like the job, I'm here, so why should I reflect? I'm already here. Bear with me. I want you to take a few minutes, ask yourself the question, why? And we'll talk about the answer later. Why? As you reflect, ask yourself this question. What are your values today, regardless of how long you've been with us here? Who have you become, or who are you becoming? I ask those questions because most of the structures upon which Miramar College was established more than 50 years ago no longer exist. So we cannot continue to conduct business the same way. As an open admission academy that accepts students from all walks of life, the days of us asking if students are college ready are over. Since we continue to accept 100% of the students that come to us, there is a need for an operational model that is not only equitable, inclusive, and welcoming, but one that will allow us to conduct business based on who we are serving today. Conducting business based on who we are serving today. A lot of us went to college back in the days. I was a product of the community college system. I do not expect the system to serve students today the way I was served. No way. The world is moving. So we also have to evolve with the world. With the shifting demographic of our student body, the advancement in technology, and the demand, make note of this one, the demand for more return on investment from our citizens in the form of uplifting their cultural, economic, and social mobility. You see, there is a need for us to embrace the changing global world and develop better informed citizens of the world. So, my esteemed colleagues, instead of us asking ourselves the questions if students are ready for college or not, no, we should embrace the promises of our mission, vision, and strategic plans. We are the ones that should be ready for them. We are the ones that should be student ready. So as we move deeper into the 21st century, Miramar College shall work to close all equity gaps by providing an inclusive teaching, learning, and working environment for all its stakeholders, and striving to become a student-ready college. A world where we imagine equality, we treat all students equally, that is gone. It's not going to work anymore. So, what are the characteristics of a student-ready college? According to the screen, because the world isn't equal, right? We have to meet people from where they are, and we have to take them to where they need to be. So, becoming a student-ready college requires more than a mission or diversity statement that touts philosophical ideas of inclusiveness. Becoming a student-ready college means more than express commitments to inclusion and student-centeredness. No window dressing here, no bullshitting anybody. A student-ready college is one that strategically and holistically advances student success and work tirelessly to educate all students for civic and economic participation in a global, interconnected society. I made a point yesterday at the Cheers Academy. This work is tough, and none of us are here for the money. Because if you are here for the money, oh, you just made the wrong decision. At student-ready colleges, all services and activities, from outreach to admission and orientation, to the business and administrative offices, to the classroom, and to even our campus security. They are all intentionally designed to facilitate students' progressive advancement toward college completion and beyond, positive post-college outcomes. Student-ready colleges are committed not only to student achievement, but also to organizational learning and institutional improvement. That's why I asked you earlier on about, our program review, how do we do those, right? At student-ready colleges, all principles and values are aligned with the mission of the institution. I ask you to reflect, what are your values today? And those beliefs are shared among members of the broader campus community. Student-ready colleges offer a holistic approach to leadership that empowers all members of the campus community to serve as leaders and educators. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all educators. Every one of us, we have a role to play in taking all students to the finish line. Administrators at student-ready colleges foster and support an inclusive, educational, and employment environment, including across multiple campuses in the same district. And I think that is very important because we are in a multiple college district, right? And the fact that we want to work with our sisters college, we want to share things with them. Communication is not submission. So we will always do our due diligence to share and hopefully work things out behind the scene as needed. But we are different from our sister colleges, and we won't ask for anyone's permission to become. And if needed, we'll take our concerns to the vice chancellors, and to the governing board meetings because we are Miramar. So how do we cultivate a student-ready college? How do we do this? The good news is we are currently doing so many things towards becoming a student-ready college. And let me share a few with you. You see the screen about how equity works, how we close those gaps? Yeah, Miramar, we are on the right path. We have activities like open educational resources and zero textbook costs. We have LGBTQ plus safe training zones. We have the food pantry. We have guided pathways. We have a new governance structure. We are intentionally embedding elements of equity-mindedness in teaching and learning. We are using disaggregated data to inform our work. We have FLOC, Faculty Learning Online Community. We have DEC, Data and Equity Coaching Community. We have IDEA, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Anti-Racism. And we have LEAD, Leading Equity, Anti-Racism, and Diversity. One more here. We have our first inaugural Equity Summit on October 28-29, just to mention a few. So we are indeed on the right path, but we need more folks to partake in as many opportunities as possible so we can become the center of excellence and a leader college for the betterment of everyone. We need to share. We need to spread the information out. From our non-academic, non-classified staff to our classified professionals, faculty, administrators, our governing board members, it is our collective responsibility to transform the culture of Miramar in order to contribute to the fulfillment of our mission and to the advancement to the next era of the community college evolution, a student-ready college. So what can we do today? What can we do right now? I know folks are asking, okay, Michael, so what can we do? Oh, in your spaces, we can begin by re-examining our institutional structures, policies, processes, and procedures through the lenses of equity, race consciousness, and social justice. And as we serve on committees, bring those up. Those are things you can do right now. We can partake in professional development opportunities centered around equity, diversity, and inclusion. We can advance and incorporate the concept and dimensions of equity, diversity, inclusion in all aspects of our work. The services we offer and when, how we connect with students, how we schedule classes, how we teach, how we engage each other. As we come back on campus and plan for the future, we can invest in flexible and universal design across the college so that our buildings can no longer look like factories. Our classrooms and gathering places can no longer look like assembly lines. We should try to know our students and learn about their lived experiences. How can we help students if we don't know who they are? How can we meet them where they are and take them to where they need to be? Based on what we did when we were in college. Come on, folks, it doesn't happen that way. The world is changing. We should not have syllabus that looks like the statement from the 10 commandments, thou shalt not do this or thou shalt not do that, and expect our students to feel welcome. We should not put students who are forcing their families to go to college or returning adults in front of a computer and call that an orientation. Where is the love? You know, so my closing remarks. It's all about you. It's all about our employees. It's all about every one of us. And let me tell you why. And please feel free to post on the chat where you think I'm wrong. I welcome it, please, because I am new here. I am learning and I want to learn more. So if I go wrong in anything I'm going to be saying for the next few minutes, please call me out. I believe you all came to Miramar because you wanted to make a difference. So what happened? I believe a lot of things happened in your past at Miramar that made you question your purpose. I believe some of you were hurt and you gave up hope. Really, how can you be creative if you have to constantly watch your back? I get that. I'm a Black man. I see that every day. How can you improve and grow if you cannot take a chance? How can you be innovative if you cannot make mistakes and learn from your experiences and interactions? Look, the community college system has been in existence for over 100 years, and we don't have all the answers. Yet, we push you around. You have not been allowed to flourish. You have always been told what to do. You have always asked for permission to think or even to make a move. My esteemed colleagues, today, I offer you a new vision. Today, I offer you a new beginning. Today, I offer you the foundation to help us become a student-ready college. Are you willing to give us a chance to show each other our authentic selves? Are you willing to take a chance in our executive team to realize your dreams and full potential in academia? Your new leadership team is ready to take a chance in you. We are ready to let you become. So, we are going to challenge and empower you. We are going to invest in you. We want you to be innovative. So go ahead and unleash your entrepreneurial mind and your inner potentials. After all, we hired you not just because you were the best. We hired you to lead us as we move deeper into the 21st century. So do your homework and engage in courageous conversation. Beyond coming up with ideas, share with us how we can get things done and how we can make this system work better for everyone. My esteemed colleagues, today, we set you free. We are going to disagree, but we are going to be respectful of each other and our positions. We are going to make many mistakes, but we shall own them, reflect on them, move on and get back to the drawing board and come up with better solutions. And I want you to get used to that mindset. Trying to back anyone into a corner or having a one-up on anyone, any group, any team is not going to work anymore. I am aware of our limited resources as the fastest growing college in the district, but we can no longer see ourselves as the stepchild of the district. We shall fight for equitable distributions of resources to help us. We shall fight for more full-time faculty and staff. We shall grow our college, but I promise you, it will never be at the expense of your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. I am also aware that you have come to disrupt to distrust our administration or see us as the enemy. So I don't expect anything to change overnight. But we made a promise in our mission statement, and it is our collective moral obligation to live up to our words. I am a person of my words. As you get to know me, judge me on my words. Our students and their loved ones who committed them to our hands and our community members deserve the best from us. So I hope you will give us the opportunity to continue the healing process you started with President Lundberg, because we still have a job to do and life has to go on. Finally, a system, including a broken one, is made of people. If you want to challenge and empower a system, you invest in their professional development. You provide the resources they need to continue to grow and be successful. You build internal capacities by leveraging their knowledge, skills, and abilities. You show them love by meeting them where they are and taking them to where they need to be. This, I promise you, is the new order of the day at Miramar, and we shall call it the Miramar Promise to Employees, centered around Miramar love. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Great passion. A lot of good comments below. Everybody excited about that. Thank you so much for that presentation.
You're here.
We are a little bit behind now, so we're going to move on to mini presentations that you will see right here. The breakout sessions are later in the morning, so don't anyone go anywhere. Our first mini presentation, about 20 minutes, a faculty panel facilitated by Dr. Laura Gonzalez, and I'll let her explain. Dr. Gonzalez, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Steve. First of all, thank you for the non-existent PhD. I'm actually just Professor Laura Gonzalez.
Well, Michael said we could do whatever we wanted, so I'm living
there
out
we
of
go.
the box, so there you go.
And I think we need to take a moment. I'm not prepared to move on yet. I just want to say I'm Team Odoo. Dr. Odoo, wow, thank you for your authenticity, for speaking truth to what we need to hear right now, for your passionate words about investing in the great people that make up Miramar College and our district. Some of us have been talking over the past week or so about this sort of invisible burden that we've carried for 15 years and how slowly it's sort of being chipped away and released. And I think your speech sort of just, got the bulk of it off. And maybe a lot of us do feel freer because of the optimism and the potential that we see in our future with our terrific administration. So thank you so much for that. I just needed to take a moment and let my heart beat a little slower. So hello, everyone. I'm Laura. I'm Laura Gonzalez. I teach anthropology. I'm also the professional development coordinator. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm one of the co-developers of the DEC program, which, as Dr. Odoo mentioned, is the DEQuity. That would be the Data and Equity Coaching Community. And this is, sort of how we go about our data inquiry process. It is a mentor program that engages faculty in reading their own data, understanding how their particular students and how their particular courses are doing in terms of retention and success rates, and then really supporting faculty in creating strategies to improve those retention and success rates. So in terms of becoming a student-ready college, looking at this disaggregated data is a really important tool in our toolbox, and it's used in order to close equity gaps. And of course, we're all connected across the campus, and there are ways in which looking at this data in the classroom helps connect us to collaborations with student services and classified professionals and other ways that we can all work together. So I'm going to introduce 3 faculty who have been through the DEC program. And so far, this has been a faculty program because of some limitations on the data, but we really hope and are working towards being able to allow all offices on campus to be able to look at and work with their data, knowing that evidence-based culture is very important in order to move ahead. So we've got terrific faculty, Anne Gloag from math, wonderful faculty member Channing Booth from music and audio production, and fabulous faculty member Pablo Martin from communications. So Malia, thank you. So what I'd like to do is just ask a couple of questions to my 3 faculty members, and we invite you to join us in a breakout room after the 2 presentations are done to talk more about these collaborations between looking at our data in the classroom and across the campus, and also how you can get involved. So let's start off with Pablo. Pablo, tell us about your journey through the DEC program.
All right, I was hoping to go third with that 1, 2, 3, but I'll jump in. It was, unfortunately, it was a little bit distracted. I was serving as chair, struggling with the pandemic, and so I only had a couple of classes, but I did my best to dive in and really look at the data. Really appreciated Laura Pachenko's leadership as our DEC coordinator. But it was really eye-opening. I think everyone says that, and everyone's probably going to say it, so I get to say it first. So thanks, Laura. I thought I was doing a lot. I've been adapting my syllabi since leaving San Diego State with the master's degree, right? I taught there, and I was super, this is how it's going to be. And frankly, I was pretty uptight and bossy, and I used big words so I would sound important, because frankly, I looked as young as my students then, right? That's part of my genetic makeup. Thanks to my ancestors or whatever. So I looked kind of like a kid when I was teaching. So I acted tough and big and whatever. It didn't work the way I wanted it to. And so I have had to dismantle all of that over the years. And I thought I'd done a pretty good job, and I think I have, but I still have a long way to go. And it was enlightening to see that. I was pleased with some of my results in certain areas, but my goodness, I certainly realize I have a cultural leaning in terms of my approach, what I would call a Germanic approach, logical, direct, X, Y, Z, we just follow these steps, and not everybody is that way culturally. I'm not that way culturally. I'm all over the place too. But in terms of how I do my classes, like my classes were done when I was in school, and it's been a dismantling of that and a decolonizing of my whole course over the years. But it's still not as far as I'd like it to be, right? And it was kind of a wake-up call. Like, I was surprised that my retention rates were lower among certain student groups than I'd hoped. And higher among certain student groups too. So I think what I was doing is that the broad, giving everybody the same kind of lift. So, everyone got a little lift, but the groups that needed more lift didn't get more lift. And I'm struggling with how to do that, right? How can I be student ready for students that are really didn't take honors classes, or didn't have access to honors classes, or didn't have access to courses or faculty and tutors that were made available to them in affluent neighborhood schools and things like that. So I guess a long answer without a whole lot of specifics is that I learned there's a lot I still need to do, and I won't jump ahead too much into other questions, but I have, again, went through my entire syllabus and course documents and changed them up again. I keep doing that. And thanks to your leadership with that too. I mean, you provided a lot of decolonizing your syllabus workshops and other things, but that's been very helpful. But it was eye-opening. I really learned a lot from it. And, you don't know what you don't know. And the deck data really helped me see what's happening.
Thanks, Pablo. Anne, how about you? What about your deck journey?
Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Michael, for that great presentation. I know my heart is beating fast too. I think Laura and Channing and I went through the Strong Workforce program, and that was a year-long program, and it was wonderful. And then Channing and I became mentors for the DEC program. So we went through it more than once, which was really great. Looking at the data was great, but probably some of the more eye-opening stuff were the activities that were associated with it. So the first one was like, look at your syllabus. Is it welcoming? If this is kind of your first point of contact sometimes with the students, does it welcome the students to your classroom? And I looked at mine and I was cringing because I always kind of thought, make the syllabus as short as possible. It conveys information. This is what the class is. But I was like, oh my God, this is not welcoming my students in my classroom. This is just a list of things that students should be doing. So that was like the first thing. I gotta change this. So I made a liquid syllabus. I made it a lot more personal, a lot more welcoming, made videos. Every other line says, I'm here to support you. We're on a journey together. This is my commitment to you. So I think that sort of definitely made some progress there. So for anybody who wants to take a first step to change, to make your class more welcoming, and of course you should start with your syllabus, because I think that's a great step. And that opened it up. It's like, wow, if I can do this, if I can change my syllabus to make it more welcoming, maybe I can make some other changes. So the other thing was, I teach math, deadlines are sometimes important. And I've always kind of been, well, if I'm not strict on deadlines, if I give an inch, they'll take a mile. You can see, right, that kind of divide between me and my students, that it's like, here's me here and the students are there. So it's kind of those kinds of thoughts this program kind of helped me kind of get over. How it's like, how can I put myself in my students' shoes? So I kind of went, okay, maybe some deadlines are important and some I can be flexible with. So I'm trying things like, okay, so I have strict deadlines on this, and I explain to the students why. And I have flexible deadlines on this, and I explain to students why. And guess what? They don't take advantage of it. Even with the flexible deadlines, students email me and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late on this. And I'm like, it's flexible, it's okay. But they still tell me. And if they say, I need an extension, I ask them, tell me what you need. And they usually come up with something much sooner than I would allow. They go, I'll be able to give you this in 2 hours or in 24 hours or and so on. I go, yeah, sure. So it's like, I learned to talk to my students. So, and all right, I've learned a lot more things, but I'm going to stop and let Channing talk because I get way too excited about this stuff now. Anyway.
Thanks, Anne. I'm sure you'll be able to say more as we go along. And then third, Channing, can you share your deck journey?
Yeah, like Anne, it started with the Strong Workforce program that took all of, I think, 2019, was it, to complete. It really dived into data and data that I was never thinking about. And then being part of the deck as a mentor and so forth, it was not only pleasing to help other faculty find their data and explore it, but it was just a constant reminder of my own data. I mean, for many, many years, I've been here 22 years now. So for many, many years, I just taught my class. I had my roster. This is the people that I have enrolled. And at the end of the semester, these are the people that made it. And that's kind of how I thought of it. And that was kind of your standard, like, okay, you know, you got your in, you got your out. But through the DEC data, I really looked much more intensely at retention and outcomes, and really started to think about, well, what's causing this low retention in this class? Why, I mean, what is it in my course that's happening that's making these people leave? Maybe it's too technical, too quick when they really want to have some fun at the beginning, and then that kind of hooks them into staying. So I started really thinking about how I can improve my retention rates and my successful outcomes of students graduating. And it really has changed my classroom. Like Anne, I really thought and went through my syllabus and how I could make that very clean and clear and not too overwhelming. With Canvas, I make sure they all start with just an announcement, and then that gives them a way to, you know, go through the things they need to do, but at a pace that doesn't seem overwhelming. But I really think the important thing here is that it made me a better instructor that's connected to the students and what's going on with them and how I can facilitate their success. Another example was back in the Strong Workforce, there was a presentation there, and it was talking about how, you know, as instructors, we're not just there to teach, we're there to guide. These are students that don't know something already. And so it's our job to help them learn it, not just give them a grade. And they were talking about how important it is to contact your students and be in touch with them. And that's something I applied ever since. And so often now in the beginning part of the semester, if somebody's not showing up or somebody's behind on work, I call them. I actually reach out and individually call them. And guess what? They stay in the class. Instead of these students dropping, getting out, and so forth, just having somebody care about them, having somebody that's in their life saying, hey, you can do this, you can finish. That's such a big thing for these students. And I am now a big believer in making sure that we reach out to the students, not just the ones that are doing good, not the ones that are doing their thing, but the ones that are struggling. We can still help them along, and they need that. They need that support. Often, many don't have any support. So that was my take.
Thanks, Channing. So Pablo, I'm going to go back to you, and we have one more question for all the panelists. This is, tell us about some of the changes that you made based on your data, and whether you have been able to track any changes in your courses, you know, retention, success, anything like that.
All right, my response will be briefer this time because one, I talked too long last time, and two, I don't have much to say. I was on sabbatical last semester, so I was working not on my classes, but on other things. So, but I was thinking about how I can bring things back. And as I was revising my syllabi, my courses this semester, how can I change things up? Really trying to focus on practical skills and really focusing on, you know, I have a lot of little steps in my class. And I think they're important, but as Channing, I think said, or maybe it was in the chat, somebody said, really telling people why it's important, right? So this is why we do things and really focusing on that. So I'm doing more of that.
Oh man, I
have, sorry, I got a little distracted there. I've made some changes to my syllabus. I've been sort of burned a couple of times by students taking advantage of things. And it's very rare, but because of that, and you know, my Germanic approach, I have like 15 pages of here's how things work in my class. I don't give that to my students anymore. I give them a highlight reel and say, if this concerns you, read it, right? So that's something that I'm doing now too. And I make that highlight reel very fun and, you know, short. I also, one of the big changes I'm making this semester is I'm regretting it a little bit, but I totally took on a new text and a new approach to teaching speech, simply because the software that was provided, that this group called POPS Classroom offers, it took me a while to come around to it. Lisa Brewster's been suggesting it for a while, and I finally did. It's got an artificial intelligence that analyzes students' work and their speeches in particular, and it gives them a lot of feedback. So I figure, well, gosh, I can't give them as much feedback as I'd like. It's going to be a lot of work for me to make all these changes, but I think students will benefit from it. And so I'm reaching out, setting things up so that they'll have that resource now. So again, I think really grounding my pedagogy and my assignments and just my interactions in really making them feel welcome, making them feel important. This is all about your success, getting good at whatever it is you want to get good at in my class. And really stressing again and again. I mean, just this morning, I sent out my welcome email late, but I sent it out. And I realized it doesn't have my friendly welcome thing in it yet. And I'm like, how did that not get there? So I made sure that was the first thing said, right? I said, here's who I am. Here's why I do this. Here's what I want for you. And then the other stuff came. So those are some concrete changes that I've made for this semester. Thanks, Laura.
Awesome, thank you. So we have just a few minutes left. Anne, go ahead.
So some changes that I've made and making. I have started implementing giving student choice in my classroom in terms of choosing certain assignments that they want to do and not do. So a certain portion of my grade, they have a choice of completing this, that, and the other. I think that kind of gets the students more motivated to do what they want to do. And the other, and this has been a long time in coming, kind of me being brave enough to replace the final by a portfolio assessment where the students feature their best work rather than taking this 30-question test. And it's amazing how much of a celebration of the student work is, as opposed to you got to take this test. And again, that's a choice of whether they want to do one or the other. Okay, so I'll stop here.
Channing, what about you?
Well, I have flexibly made my due dates a little bit more accommodating because, some students, they work full-time or they work 2 jobs. And sometimes because of all that, they just can't get things in on time. So rather than immediately penalize them, I have a grace period. I still want them to turn it in, but then after the grace period, then they lose a point, and then another day, another point, and so forth. So it's a gradual thing, but it still allows those students time to get their work in, and not because of they got called into work or they had a family emergency or whatever, all of a sudden they're losing points in the class. Another thing that I did was I created options, which I think really, really helps. In the middle of the semester, my students normally would do an essay paper, right? They would do like a midterm paper, and that was it. They had one choice. But now I give them the choice, same points, they can do this or this, right? So the option is that they can put together a slide presentation, Google Slides or PowerPoint, whatever. So instead of doing a paper, these students that are more visual, they're more audio, things that they like to present in that format. They're not like a reader, they're a watcher, right? Or whatever, or they're a producer, so that they have the opportunity to choose between the two, and they can still get the same points, and it's one or the other. But that option really has been popular with students because, yeah, who wouldn't want to choose the better of two rather than just be stuck with this is what you got to do and you have no choice. So that really changed, helped a lot.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing your experiences. We want to invite you to join us if you haven't done the data coaching process through DEC yet. We will have a fall DEC program. It is being approved by the board soon, but I do have permission to announce it. And it's a 5-week program, and we would love for any contract or adjunct faculty to join us for looking into their own data. So thanks again to the faculty for being willing to share their experiences. And we would love to have anyone join us for our breakout session if you'd like to ask more questions or engage in more conversation about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for that presentation. As I sat back and reflected, I was thinking, man, I had some terrible professors when I was in college. I once got dropped from a class that was called How to Get Your First Job in Broadcasting because I had to miss the final because I got my first job in broadcasting. So thank you guys for like listening to your students. And by the way, out of those 50 people, I think to this day, I'm still the only one that's got a job in broadcasting and was employed in it. And I also apologize to Laura for telling her she's a doctor. I have a funny story from Friday, from Monday, which will kind of, you can understand why I mixed up Dr. Laura Murphy and Laura Gonzalez. And that's because I was back Monday, first thing, trying to figure out what kind of services were open. And over 17 months, we've sort of all forgotten our names and what we look like and what we do at the college. And so the first place I stopped in at, they asked me to fix all their computers because they thought I was Todd, the IT guy. And I finally had to pull down my mask and say, no, Steve, PIO, it's understandable. And no sooner did I turn around, but as I was walking out, the next group of sets of services, a woman came up to me and handed me a screw and asked me to fix the door because she thought I was in facilities. So it's going to take a little while for all of us to remember who we are. We might have to go back to name tags and all that good stuff because 17 months out, I remember faces, but some of the names I can't. And so it's understandable. So I will not hopefully mix that up again, Laura Gonzalez. Time for our mini session number 2 for between 10:10 and 10:50. We're a little behind here. It's a student panel facilitated by Dr. Judy Pataxel and Clarissa Padilla. So take it away.
Hi, everyone. Well, with that, I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Clarissa Padilla, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm the administrative technician for our new equity office. And I'm going to be joined by my colleague, like Steve mentioned, Judy Pataxel, who's our new equity faculty coordinator. Earlier, VP Odu gave us a comprehensive and powerful presentation on becoming a student-ready college by essentially infusing equity in all of our work in order to truly meet the needs of our students. Listed on your screen now are 7 characteristics of being a student-ready college. Equity is a multifaceted effort that requires broad participation from every area of the college. So all of us are important in this work. Every individual can contribute to equity in their offices and interactions with students, regardless of whether or not they're an instructor or in a student-facing position. Tia Brown McNair, author of Becoming a Student-Ready College, explains that we have a responsibility to educate the students as they are, not as we wish they would be, which essentially means meeting students where they are now. Today, we're fortunate to have a wonderful student panel who are going to be willing to share their experiences with us so we can learn how we can better meet their needs based on their unique and diverse backgrounds.
Okay, thanks, Clarissa. As Clarissa mentioned, I'm the equity coordinator and really excited to be in this role during this pivotal time at Miramar College. Dr. Tia Brown McNair, who also is a lead author From Equity Talk to Equity Walk, which provides practical guidance on campus change strategies, which we were able to learn more about from Dr. Odu Michael's wonderful, passionate keynote. But what's important is that what we do is that we focus on meeting students where they are and asking questions such as, what must change in an institution's policies, practices, and culture in order to be truly student ready? We are very grateful to have students share their experiences so they can truly become student ready and so that we can truly become a student ready campus at Miramar, and that we move from equity talk, which we did a lot of last year, but this year we want to actually move to equity walk. Let's take a moment to have our students introduce themselves, what their preferred pronouns are, and tell us a little about themselves and share about their journey at Miramar through the questions that we'll ask. Our students are Edward Borek, Luis or Manny Diaz Garcia, Mara Tarlis Jones, and Tatiana Jamal. So I'm going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves. We can go in that order. Edward, if you'd like to go first.
Sure thing. Hello again, everyone. Edward, I use he, him pronouns. I am a business administration major going into my sophomore year here at Miramar College. My experience that I would like to see from Miramar is basically to just prepare myself for what comes next. I am an adult learner, a non-traditional student. I originally went to school more than a decade ago for culinary arts and restaurant management. After 16 years in hospitality, I thought it was time for a change. So I started thinking about going back to school, maybe online part-time. Then COVID-19 happened, made that change for me. You know, every restaurant and bar and hotel pretty much shut down overnight, which in hindsight was probably the best thing that has happened to me in a long time for my own personal and professional development. Kind of echoing what President Lundberg had said, you know, Miramar College, college in general, especially community colleges, acts as a bridge from one life to the next. And that's what I see Miramar College being to me, is that bridge from my last life to my next life. So.
Thanks, Edward. Mara?
Good morning. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Luis Diaz Garcia. I go by Manny. This is my second year at Miramar College. Enjoy the school so much. I am majoring in fire protection and business management. I'm also a part of EOPS and the Dreamers. And that is it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Manny. Tarlis, would you like to go next?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tarlis Jones. My pronouns are she, her. I am an entrepreneurship student at Miramar College. I believe I'm going into something like my third year. I am a single parent mom of 2 teenage kids that are entering into high school. I am a former CalWorks recipient. I still keep in very close contact with them. And I am a student advocate. I work with the Career Services Department as a career ambassador. I am very much looking forward to the campus semi-opening, if even for a short moment, to be able to interact with prospective and incoming and returning students. My greatest joy is being able to help others help themselves. I stepped away from corporate America about 2 years ago due to mental health issues. And ever since then, I have been on a journey to somewhat free the workforce area. And I think COVID was perfectly timed with it as well, to help understand the value and importance of mental health in the workplace. And that's somewhat where my journey seems to be taking me. And I enjoy it very much. And I believe Miramar College is on a great path and a great avenue to be able to support its students, not just academically, but personally. And I believe that that plays a major part in a student's success, because we're more than just a number, we're more than just a student. We are a people, a person, we are human. And that is me.
Thank you so much, Tarlis. Well said. And we have Tatiana. Would you like to go next, please?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tatiana Jamal, and I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for this opportunity to share my experience as a student and allowing my perspective to be heard. So I am a student here at Miramar College, and I am currently beginning my second year. I am a business administration and architecture major. And I'm planning to transfer to UC college or university next fall. So I actually graduated high school during the beginning of the pandemic. So I had to transition to college during like the middle of the pandemic. It was definitely a big jump from high school to college, but I actually think the pandemic made it a lot easier. A huge influence on my decision to go to community college is my diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. So I had repeated flare-ups and many, many hospitalizations throughout these past few years. So it was definitely kind of a blessing that I had to stay indoors and not have that, flare up again. But unfortunately, it is caused by stress. But I think community college actually really helped me with that. And a huge part of my academic success was the accessibility to the DSPS office and all my professors who were super accommodating. And that has empowered me through the ups and downs of my illness. So shout out to everyone who makes it possible for all types of students from different backgrounds to strive for greatness and for guiding in the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, each of you. Thank you, Edward, Manny, and Tarlise, and Tatiana. So what we want to do is during this time, we want to give students the space to organically share about their experiences through the questions that we'll be asking. So if you have questions, we invite you to join us for the breakout session and to hear more from the students directly. With that, let's start with the first question. Please tell us, what are some of the barriers that you experience inside or outside the classroom that affects your abilities to succeed, both academically and personally? We can go in perhaps the same order if you like, or we can go backwards, unless one of you would like to start first.
Yeah, I can go ahead and share my experience there. So some barriers especially outside of school, my illness, but there's also family life and that uncertainty. I do come from a low income household, and also I am the first generation to go to college, as well as the first girl. I'm the only girl in my family. So I do have a lot of responsibility there as the oldest daughter, oldest sister. So that sometimes really does put pressure on, academics. So I really have to manage my time. But communicating with my professors, it has been incredibly helpful, keeping them up to date on things. And like I said, professors are super accommodating. But yeah, so, life does happen a lot of the time. So sometimes we can't catch a break, but yeah, that's my answer for that.
Thank you, Tatiana. I understand now Mara is with us, so let's give Mara a moment to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about who you are. Thank you for being here. Okay, I was messaged that she was here, but maybe she hasn't joined. So let's go with Tarlise. Can you answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. This is actually my second attempt at attending Miramar College. I attempted to attend more than 10 years ago at Miramar, and I can speak for the difference between when I attended more than 10 years ago and my attendance since 2019. And honestly, back in 2010, I think I was almost invisible, partly on my own self, but I also felt disconnected from the faculty and staff. I felt like I was just a student. It was just my obligation to attend my classes, do as my professor said, follow their syllabus, and kind of go home. And that was just it. I didn't feel any connection or part of the school life in essence. And I know a lot of people make comments that, that no such thing really exists at a community college. It's just for your general eds and then to go on to do what you really want to do in life. But what I've actually learned since my attendance in 2019 is that, number one, faculty and staff do care. And I can personally speak for many people who are actually on the call today that I have had people personally reach out to me from effects that have impact me by losing my job due to COVID, my kids being at home 24/7 due to COVID, lack of money for utilities, for groceries, and just honestly needing somebody to connect to. As we know, COVID affected us greatly in our ability to connect with others. And that was something that was impacting me when I didn't realize it was impacting me. However, Miramar College faculty and staff reached out, whether it was through Canvas Shell, whether it was through email communications, the social media networking, or just in-person conversations where people were reaching out and checking in on a personal basis, and continuously provided resources to me, not just as a student, but as a mother and as a person. And to me, that had such great value because, again, my first experience was it's just about my academics. It's just about me being a good student and, not stressing my teacher or my professor out so they can go home and have a good day. But the second go round, I believe the connection and the ability of Miramar to want to connect to their students where they are in order to get them to where they desire to go. And that is something that the community college experience gives everyone. And I hope that it will only get better from here. I appreciate the efforts that are going in to want to reach the diversification that Miramar College brings. Not to get too long-winded, but I am a true Miramacian. I have traveled from elementary school, middle school, high school, and now the college right here in Miramar. Yes, I did leave and come back, but I am a true Miramacian, and I have seen the growth personally from Miramar College being in bungalows to being a full-bloomed, beautiful campus where there's exploratory discovery, interaction, connection, networking, and just a heart. And I think that is what we as students need most. And that is what helps us to overcome obstacles that we face as students. Again, not just a student, but as a person, to be able to overcome so that we can be successful now and into our future desires. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tarlise. All right, Manny, you're next. Would you share and answer the question, please?
No problem. I think some of the barriers I experience inside the classroom setting is a feeling of being there, but mentally I am lost. And not lost within the lesson or the teaching itself, but more of the loss of motivation that I have for that lesson. The reason might be because I am distracted sometimes. I am at home all the time whenever I have class, so some things are just more important at that time. However, outside of the classroom setting, I feel like time management, just like Tatiana said, time management is really important. Some things just pop out of nowhere, and it's really hard to kind of plan out things whenever there's unexpected situations. And these seem to be the major barriers that I experience in and out the classroom setting. Thank you.
Thank you, Manny. Okay, Edward, would you like to share, please?
Definitely. So I kind of want to preface my answer with acknowledging my own privilege. I know that I am, generally speaking, better positioned than a lot of students that attend a community college. But knowing that, I still face some, I wouldn't even call them barriers, but maybe points of, hurdles, I guess. Some of which being the cost associated with going to school. Particularly textbooks. I just had my textbooks for this semester delivered, $500 for a handful of classes. I've had classes in past semesters where there were a lot of maybe items that needed to be printed, going through a whole ream of computer paper, which doesn't cost a lot of money, you know, a handful of dollars, but ink is very expensive for a printer, right? $60, $70 for that. You know, you're getting close to $600 or so. That's equitable to the total cost of tuition for a semester at Miramar College. So I think that that is a major barrier. Again, recognizing my own privilege, knowing that I can afford it, not all students can. So I think that it's important to recognize that there's a lot of hidden costs, both monetary and emotional and time-wise, family obligations, work obligations that go part and parcel with being a student. So those are some of the barriers that I have seen for myself and more so for my student peers.
Thanks, Edward. So let's go into the next question then. You've talked a little bit about the barriers. Can you tell us what's been most helpful? Some of you have mentioned some of those things in terms of President Lundberg had mentioned having that welcoming environment. But what has been most helpful to you in your journey here at Miramar? Let's start with Manny, and then we'll just kind of switch it up in terms of who's first.
No problem. I believe one of the most helpful things that I have learned throughout this journey at Miramar would be the connections I make with people. You know, it ranges from professors to peers to different workers of different areas of the college. Not only are they willing to lend a hand, but they're also willing to lend an ear whenever you need to be listened. Most of the times, this is really helpful whenever you're trying to come up with solutions. I know for a fact that the Dreamers office has helped me as a student. I am on docu student, so there's some struggles within that area that are just hard to deal with people that cannot relate all the time. However, there's always been somebody to listen, and I know Charlize could definitely connect with me and could relate to what I'm saying. There's always someone who's out there willing to listen, and that's always motivated me to continue going and to find solutions, and therefore I feel less isolated. And that is my answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Manny. Tarlise, would you like to go next?
Sure thing. Manny, I just love that answer. It's so true. And I really do hope that the faculty and staff that is here today really understand the imperativeness of what he's saying. It's not just that somebody cares, but it's that somebody is setting aside their own self. They're setting aside their differences. They're setting aside their backgrounds. They're setting aside their understandings, their perspectives, the individual that they are in order to have a heart and an ear for somebody else. And I'm going to try to not get too emotional on this because it's important. We all know the social injustices that are going on around our society that impact us directly as individuals and as students. And as a college campus, we're always going to be a target of, are we doing enough to make our students feel belonged and welcomed? And I believe that Miramar College is heading in a perfect direction to answer that question with an affirmed yes. In my belief, I also know that it's a part of the student. It's a part of the student's ability to want to be different as well, and want to connect. As a introverted person, you would probably never realize it, but I've only become like this because I've chosen to step out of my comfort zone. I've chosen to use my voice in order to speak for those who maybe just aren't ready. And I believe that that is what helps create the atmosphere and the environment that we have at San Diego Miramar College. It's about connecting with the students, but also the student being able to connect with themselves. And that really is what brings along success. It's not because the teacher said, okay, I want you to write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the student copies it exactly as it is. It's because the teacher is like, okay, we're going to learn A through B, but I want you to self-initiate. I want you to self-succeed. I want you to introduce and become yourself and put it in a format in which you understand. And I think that's a flexibility that that's somewhat new to education. Ironically to say it, I have a mother that's been a school teacher for 20 plus years. So I've been around the school district for a very long time. And I've seen the changes through time of what our education has done. And I believe that now we are in a place where we have the option, where we have the stability, where we have the support, the finances to make true change for the benefit of the generations now and those to come thereafter. And I think so long as we continue to put in that effort, we will continue to succeed. So I believe the success comes from the partnership of the student and what their desire is, and the connection that comes from the faculty and staff, not just teachers and professors, but all of the different department and services that are offered on Miramar campus. I'm a part of like 3 or 4, maybe 5 different departments on campus. And it's because of every single little piece that comes together to make the experience better, and the students' investment within themselves that make for a great experience.
I kind of just wanted to go off of what Tarlise was saying about stepping out of our comfort zone. I think my journey here at Miramar, which has been like inside my house, has been one of mental and physical growth, becoming really confident in myself. And I think professors have done a really good job about encouraging that. So keep doing what you're doing if you do that. But, giving us the freedom to express ourselves in writing, reading, not following just this set outline is super important, because I have found like my style of writing or something that I'm comfortable, writing about. But just that freedom is super important in growth academically. And then, like I said, we're all dealing with stuff, so that, allowing us to deal with those things at home has also been, really helpful in just general growth.
Thank you, Tatiana. Edward?
Yeah, I would definitely like to echo what 3 other speakers have just said. Some of the most helpful things here at Miramar have definitely been all of the advisors that I have worked with, particularly through student organizations, student government, Club Spectrum, biology club, chemistry club. I'm not a member of all those clubs, but definitely have worked closely with them. And I think that in large part, that's interaction between students and with other advisors, whether they be faculty or other classified employees here at Miramar, they can be incredibly helpful. And I want to kind of put a pinpoint on supportive professors, particularly. Several semesters ago, my first semester here at Miramar, I had 2 particular professors who were engaging, and they taught through a lens of understanding cultural differences that not everybody learns the same way. They, as some of the presenters from the last panel talked about, syllabus. A syllabus can say a lot about a professor, but also the learning environment that a student is going to be in. Professors like that are supportive, they make a lasting difference. And in fact, the next semester, I followed up with 2 other classes with those same 2 professors. And one of which was a class in which I got a say in my learning outcomes. The syllabus was not a list of do's and don'ts. It was not a list of these are the expectations and you need to meet them. It was more of a, this is a contract that we're going to make. That professor's first assignment was write me a letter introducing yourself, and they wrote a letter back. But after taking 2 semesters of 2 different classes with that professor, I ended up being published in the San Diego Union Tribune, which was not something I ever expected going into classes here at Miramar a year ago. But having those supportive professors, they are what uplifts students to their fullest potential, to the potential they didn't even know they had. So I would just say that the most helpful things at a community college are the connections between students amongst themselves and with the professors and all of the support staff that works at the college.
Thank you, Edward. So I'm looking at the time. We are going to weave in question 3 and 4 together. So is there anything you would like for us to tell us, or what you would like us to know as we start this new academic year, this fall semester? Maybe you can weave in, how has this pandemic impacted you as we go into this next year with the pandemic?
I can start off.
Yes.
Like, so things that I want the college to know, everyone at the college, and tying in how COVID has impacted my learning education. Virtual office hours, maybe even once we're back in person, keeping a large presence online, it makes college accessible to a lot of people. You know, a pro of going to school during the pandemic is that all of the things are right here in my home office, right? Like I can jump from class to class, meeting to meeting, student organization to student organization without having to run across campus and all that. So that is definitely a pro. The con is it's a lot less social. It's more isolating. I live alone, right? The majority of my social interaction comes from a screen. So getting to that, I would say what I want professors and again, all of the rest of the employees of Miramar to know is keep engaging with your students, try to make things fun. Nobody wants to be on Zoom all the time, but you know, take your role as not just a professor, but a guide. As Professor Booth said, you know, take it seriously. And once we all are back in person, continue that. Keep your doors open, keep welcoming students into your spaces, and create affirming and safe spaces for your students. Thank you.
Thanks, Edward. Great. Manny, would you like to go next?
No problem. I think one of the things that impacted me was obviously the pandemic, and it affected me kind of in a negative way. I'm a very social person. I like to interact with one another face to face. However, like Edward stated, you know, there's the pros to having virtual classrooms, such as having your classroom anywhere you go. You could literally take your phone and be in a class at any state you want. However, it's kind of an awkward feeling sometimes when nobody really interacts with one another, and it makes me want to turn off my screen. However, there's a lot, you know, that we still have to recover from. I think it's important to remind everyone that in the midst of chaos and everything normalizing or going back to a normal state, does not mean we can't reach out to one another, from student to professor, professor to student, or faculty members. You know, it's important to remember that we can still help or guide towards solutions and find success for one another. Thank you.
Good points. Thank you, Manny. Tatiana, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, sorry, my camera's not working. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to say that I'm kind of the opposite, where I'm not very much I used to not be a social person. So I just really disliked speaking in front of people, talking to people. I'm not sure about now if we were in person, if I was speaking in front of 200 people, if I would have passed out on stage. But I think I do feel a lot more comfortable being behind the screen. So that kind of was a really important step for me to become, to really just put myself out there. I used to stutter a lot and, I wouldn't be able to get my thoughts together. But this has been a really important step for me, continuing my education and, like I said, my health and everything. But like everyone else said, just be open to different people with different backgrounds. And, we never know what someone's going through. Not only do I have to deal with my health, but I do have to take care of my dad, who also has multiple sclerosis. So there's a lot of things going on, and I have to take care of my little brothers, and it's very, not every student can go like just tell you their life story, so and I'm not planning on doing that to every single professor. Like I'll just be like, hey, like I have MS, like but I also do have like a million other things going on in my life. So just remember that, if they tell you about one thing, there might be 20 other things, or they might not tell you anything at all. So just being open. I know that communication on a student's part is super important, but I know that a lot of people who are going from high school to college, we had everything outlined for us in high school. We had our set, bell schedule. When that bell would ring, we're out, and we had homework, whatever, and then, we'd come back the next day. So it's just that big transition. So making it as smooth as possible, it would be great. And then just, the programs like DSPS was super helpful for me. It was literally probably the only thing that got me to my second year. And also I'm getting treatment now. So, I was able to have time to focus on myself. So also just helping, those scared teenagers who don't have someone to tell them, I was the trial child, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I still don't, but it's kind of fun just figuring things out. So just be open to everyone.
Thank you for that good advice. And let's go ahead and wrap up the student panel with Tarlise.
Oh my gosh, my colleagues, I just love you all so much. Just so smart, well-rounded, and just so honest and upfront. And honestly, I think that is what sums up a lot of what COVID has done for me. COVID has, I think, for everyone, allowed us to spend a lot more time with ourselves than we have ever anticipated doing in our entire lives. And in the opportunity to spend time with ourselves, we've got to know our own weaknesses and strengths and our vulnerabilities. And I think being able to be open and honest about those vulnerabilities is what makes us a better people. And so with what my colleagues are saying about the availability, I think Miramar did a wonderful job transitioning in the midst of chaos to the virtual realm, and making things, and making departments, making professors, making classes, making resources all available in a virtual realm. Because we weren't really able to leave our homes, or we weren't comfortable to leave our homes. And as Manny stated, now that we're somewhat coming out of it and trying to figure out the next best step, I believe Miramar is doing a great job. Like, I went to go pick up my computer the other day from the computer pickup, and things like that, that the college has made smooth, so that we're not necessarily denied our rights as students, but that we're still able to access the resources that the college is providing, is something to be proud of for COVID. And I think in the midst of that, I found out that the library was going to be open for like 2 days a week for just a couple hours a day. And I mean, I jumped for joy, because the library is kind of like my happy place. I like going there. It's quiet. It gives me a place to study. I get to get away from my children. I get to get out of my house, and I still get to feel connected to my college. And I think Miramar's just doing a really great job, like I said, in the midst of COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, with trying to make sure that we're staying connected as students. And I think the most important part that's going to lead to accomplishments and success this semester particularly is really taking the time to be honest and serving with integrity. Just as us students are speaking out about our struggles, we also have to remind ourselves that our professors were dealing with the same thing, that they had to figure out how to balance work, life, home, you know, and everything that still had to continue to occur as normal in a COVID world. And so I think just having that perspective with each other so that it can lead to compassion and lead to empathy, which leads to success, will be the benefit this semester. And just giving each other patience and giving each other time to get our words out, to get our thoughts out, to follow through on our actions. You know, things aren't going to be as immediate or instant. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, what classrooms look like, but I know going back to a classroom and having to set it up for students and be able to know where your resources are and your papers are and where your files are, and, you know, just all that goes into being an awesome professor, being an awesome staff, being an awesome faculty is all going to impact us as a student as well. So I say patience, kindness, empathy is what will lead us to success this semester. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, all of the students, for your words of wisdom, just sharing your personal experience with us. I also want to thank the faculty who helped get the student panel together. So those of you who have helped, I appreciate that. But again, many thanks to each of you, Edward, Manny, Tatiana, and Tarlise. You can please read the comments that many of the faculty are inspired, are so very grateful, and again, very appreciative of having you here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague, Clarissa, to help us transition. Clarissa?
Hey everyone, I just want to echo what Judy and everyone in the chat is saying. Your guys' raw experiences and sharing your vulnerabilities is just so important to us as we get into the semester. And you guys are reminding us what it is that we need to do to better serve you all and what our mission is as a college. I know that we're running low or behind on time. I think it's Steve's fault, so I'll go ahead and hand it over to him.
Yes, exactly. All right, so this is where we take about a 10-minute break. How about we do 5-minute break, stay on here. When we come back, we're going to have breakout sessions, and there's 2 good ones. And you may have received an email. I know I got one yesterday. Looked like it went out yesterday. That'll have the 2 bit.lys there. And you can choose the faculty panel or the student panel. So let's take a 5-minute break, stay on here. We'll come back and then excuse all of you to the 2 faculty panels. Thank you.
For those of you that are still here, please go ahead and go immediately to the breakout session of your choosing. This is the part where we can all transition.
Sorry about that, Clarissa.
No problem, Steve.
I thought I was going to welcome them back and introduce it and then send them off. So
Yeah, they could
Can you go
go
now?
immediately there. Yeah.
okay. So you guys heard Clarissa.
Better watch out, Steve, and get your job.
Thank you. You can do the next two.
Okay.
That would be awesome. I have doors to fix on campus.
I remember.
I actually was going to bring later this afternoon. I have like a little weed whacker thing. There's a couple of weeds that are driving me crazy there. And then Clarissa, you can take it the rest of the way because I got to go drop those commercials off at KUSI.
Got it.
Thank you.
No problem. If you're just coming back from your break, please go directly to the breakout session of your choosing. The links are in the chat.
Can I say it once, Clarissa? If you guys are all coming back, as Clarissa said, from our 5-minute break, because I gave you 6 minutes right there. Go ahead. There's a faculty panel and a student panel. The links are in the chat, and the faculty panel facilitated by Laura Gonzalez and Jesse Lopez. Conversation about data coaching and equity. How can data coaching help Miramar become a student-ready college? And then the breakout session number 2, student panel facilitated by Judy Pataxel, Monica Demko, Adrian Gonzalez. Conversation about the student experience and needs and support of Miramar becoming a student-ready college. So those will start shortly. You can find the bit.ly links in the chat. Thanks, everybody.
Hi. Hi, this is Barbara Clark from General Counseling. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Barbara, how can we help?
Hi. Hi. You know what? I'm having a hard time I got disconnected on my computer, so I'm having to call in, but I cannot view a chat because I'm calling in. So I can't view the links for the breakout session.
Do you want me to email them to you?
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Will do. If you're just getting back from a break, go ahead and go directly to a breakout session. The links are in the chat.
We thank all the faculty. We thank all the faculty and the facilitators for the deck breakout session, and we especially thank the students as well as the facilitators for the student panel. It's been a great morning all around. So we want to move to our closing reflections and activity. I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Clarissa.
Malia, could we go to the next slide after that, please? Perfect. So throughout today's convocation, we've heard so much about becoming a student-centered college and community, and we've learned so much about our students' personal experiences. So with that, keep in mind that we're all contributors to the campus culture that we want to create. So today we want to encourage you to take one step towards serving our disproportionately impacted students. What is one activity that you can personally commit to this fall? We're going to go ahead and put the Padlet link into the chat. We're going to take 3 to 5 minutes for all of us to contribute one small step towards supporting our students. As you start to see contributions from your colleagues, feel free to piggyback off one another, write some down, save some, share additional ideas. Thank you, Amelia.
As people are sharing their ideas on Padlet, can we have a few volunteers share what their commitment is for this year, or ideas that they have that have sparked their interest? Feel free to just jump on.
Go ahead, Laura.
I am going to focus this year on two particular populations to whom I haven't really given my energy to in the past, and that's disabled students or students with disabilities, and also to Native or First Nations students. And while I think that all the DI groups can benefit from all the equity work that we're doing, I'm going to try personally to better meet the needs of these students this year.
Thanks, Laura. Anyone else want to share what they are committing to?
Daryl, you can go ahead.
Darren from Fire Technology, and our goal is to continue to seek funds to support student scholarships for our fire academies. As an example, last year SDG&E funded $5,000 in scholarships, and if we can get a little bit more funds available, that would go a long way, especially to help reduce the economic barriers that all students may face at some point or another.
Great point. And many of your posts on the Padlet include some great commitments and ideas to help our campus to be student ready and definitely equity minded. We look forward to seeing these posts come to fruition, and our equity office, our lead office, will be here to support you. These look great. Thank you for participating. As Laura said, it's an awesome Padlet. We're going to keep this. Thank you.
Like Judy mentioned, we will compile all of these ideas and share them back out with the campus.
All right. Thank you all so much. It has been an incredible morning hearing from so many of our amazing colleagues. Dr. Odu, your message has been really inspiring and really sets the tone for the coming years as we work toward becoming a student-ready campus and become more equity-minded. It's definitely a new day and a new chapter for our campus community. As we've all come to review today's session, focusing on the students, being student-centered is critical to equity and equity-mindedness, and it really takes the commitment and engagement of the entire campus to further our understanding and overall implementation of equity, diversity, and anti-racism. Thank you to Professors Ann Globe, Pablo Martin, Channing Booth, Laura Gonzalez for sharing about how DEC has really helped you in your teaching. Your examples of how you've revised your syllabi and teaching structure are great steps toward becoming student ready in the classroom. Thank you to our students, Edward, Tarlise, Manny, Tatiana, who really gave voice to the successes and barriers of your college journey. The hidden costs, both monetary, social, personal, are all powerful reminders to all of us as educators. Your stories inspire us to renew a commitment to serve our students and to really make connections, create a sense of belonging, and become student ready. Innovation and instruction through pedagogy, having equity-minded student services and programs, to listening to our students, hearing their stories, understanding their challenges and successes will help us as we develop our goals. All of these changes are all connected to our overall planning processes, and our collective efforts really make a difference in meeting the diverse needs of our students.
Malia, could we get the next slide up, please? Thank you.
Yes, that's my cue. So I just sent out an email a few minutes ago on this point. I'm sorry, I thought someone was gonna say something.
It was me, Wes. I just literally turned on my phone and I saw that email that you just sent out right now. So that was like laughing, chuckling.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you, Adrian. So as you'll see in a more lengthy form in the email, and as you may have already picked up, we have a new name for the Equity Office, and I am particularly excited about it because, for one thing, it doesn't sound institutional. The one thing that I did not want to see us do was have something like Equity Office. We used that last year because we had nothing else to use, but this has more pop to it, frankly, and it's fantastic. So LEAD is the name of the new office, and LEAD stands for Leading Equity, Anti-Racism, and Diversity, and it's a perfect name. As you all know, this office is becoming and will be integrated in everything we do. That's why, as you see in the slide here, there's a direct tie to the Office of the President. That was very intentional to make sure that everybody sees this in terms of org chart and everything as central to everything that we do. It is pervasive over the entire college community. So yes, as Francois said here, the leadership from this team is fantastic already. And with that, I just want to call out the folks who have agreed to be the lead office for us. That is Nisa Julian, Clarissa Padilla, and Judy Pataxel. You guys are just rocking it, man. There's no other way of saying it. You are fantastic, and that's no surprise to me whatsoever. That's why you were tapped. What do they say? Voluntold or whatever, that this would be your primary thing. And I know that you each have such a strong passion for this. I've interacted with each of you and know that to be true. So, and I see it now. You guys are smiling, and that tells us everything we need to know, you know? So, so with that, I'll turn to just a couple of closing comments and really just spinning right out of this announcement. You know, our DEI efforts are not a side thing, as I was just alluding to. It's not, you know, another division over here that's going to focus on a particular event or month of events or something like that. They are going to be leading us as we dive into the data, as we learn to disaggregate and truly see our students and learn how to become more responsive to them. To see our students, we have to get to know them. And we can do that through data, certainly. But what I put on the Padlet was that I'm going to make an effort to visit the student organizations that would be classified under this, you know, our students of color and other backgrounds that make them more diversity. I'm going to say I'm drawing a blank on terms, sorry. So that I can, you know, communicate to them that we're here for them from the president's office throughout the entire college. We're here for them, and to build a relationship with them that's genuine. That will help inform me on, from where I sit, how administration can be more responsive. And so that's what I'm committing to. I regularly do walkabouts, haven't been able to do that in COVID, but as we open up, I will be doing that. I will make efforts to stop by. I tend to stop and talk to folks, whoever's in their office, but I also stop and talk to students. I don't just want to hear from and interact with students who are involved in ASG and clubs. Those tend to be the cream of the crop. Those tend to be the ones who are very involved. I also want to hear from the students who are coming onto campus, just taking classes, grabbing a bite to eat, maybe studying between classes and then going home. We need to hear from them too. I'm sharing this because I want to encourage you, in whatever role you have here, to do the same thing. Let's engage our students. Let's all take it on for ourselves to make sure that they feel welcome, that they feel like they belong. One thing that really resonated for me in listening to our students today was connections. That's what's made a difference for so many of them, connections. So let's be that. Let's be the connections to us and reach out to them. Someone pointed out in the chat at one point that it's very difficult for students to reach out and ask for help. It's important that we reach out. Sometimes it's hard to do that, especially for the introverts, but boy, they will respond. Trust me, they will respond. So with that, what a morning, huh? Thank you, Dr. Adu, for your inspiring and energetic message. You were balancing out the executive leadership, the VPs and the president, who tend to be a little more mellow and laid back. You're putting a nice spot of energy into us as well, and I look forward to us moving forward as a campus. Each and every one of us have something to bring to the table. We've been demonstrating that throughout the morning here. One of the things that I love, and I think I'll leave us with this, is seeing the sense of humor come through. You know, I hope you notice that, how we're interacting with each other, allowing ourselves to be ourselves, joking with each other, ribbing each other, propping each other up. These are community building things. If you think about the best times in families, it's at the dinner table, if you're able to do that, and laughing and joking with each other. That's when you really start to feel connected. So we'll start with feeling connected to each other through humor, through being gracious, through supporting each other and encouraging each other and helping each other where we have our weaknesses, and by being the connection for our students to their future, the bridge, as Edward said, to the future. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time this morning. What a great convocation. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go do a walkabout now. See who's around. And thank you very much again for who you are and for being here. Oh, did you want to announce that, Nisa, or shall I?
I can, but also just want to give props to, thank you, Wes. Thank you for putting equity DEI at the forefront. Again, thank you to Michael for that very inspiring talk. I also want to give props to the equity team. Thank you, Nisa, for your leadership, and Clarissa. Us working as a team together has been really exciting for me, and I very much appreciate it. So we are excited. We are lots of excitement going on. We're excited to announce that we will host our inaugural Equity Summit, and it is dedicated to Chancellor Emerita Constance Carroll. It will be on the evening of October 28th and the morning of October 29th. So please save the date. We want to engage our faculty community. We want to engage the community surrounding us. And even in the district, I think this is going to, as mentioned, we are going to be the campus that's going to lead throughout the district in terms of our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and anti-racism. So thank you all for being there. Please save the date. If you're interested in presenting or being involved in the planning, please let us know. So with that, have a great fall semester, a great equity-minded fall semester, and let us walk the talk and be that student-ready campus. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy
Thanks.
days, be well.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay blessed.
What a blessing this morning was. Thank you all.